good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we are working on a grape motif, and this is something that's actually really cool. You can adapt this and make this with thinner yarn and make a small little bookmark and just add a tail to the end, or you can use larger yarn and just keep growing the project until you have a table runner, or you can just make this a little bit wider, make a doily. You can make placemats out of these. You can make pot holders and other things. The world is your oyster, but it's a very easy little project that you can do. It looks complicated, but it's not. So we are going to do that today. To start, again, depending on the project, even if you just have some extra yarn that you want to get rid of, you can make little projects just for around the house or to give away. So this is something very versatile. So to start, I used just cotton yarn here for this. But again, just use whatever you want for whatever project you're working on. So if you want to make this into like a little pot holder, then use a thicker, chunkier yarn than this. So use like a DK and either acrylic or wool or something. Okay, so to start, I am going to use, like I said, I'm just going to use some cotton and start with a slip knot and make that however what is easiest for you. Whatever your yarn you're using, just use the appropriate hook. So I'm using, if you can see that, a 3.5 for this, but again, yes, if you want to make a little bookmark, then use a smaller hook, around a 2 or a 2.5, or even smaller. And if you want to make these really, really dainty, then use an even smaller hook and a thinner yarn. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then into the first chain that you made, you're going to double crochet twice into that. So just double crochet twice, and then you're going to chain 3, 2, 3, and then into that same chain space, you're going to do another 3 double crochets. And that is row 1. So that's what you'll have for row 1. Okay, so for row 2, you're going to turn your work, and for every new row, it's always going to start the same way. So this is how you're going to do it. You're not chaining or anything. You're just slip stitching into the first 3 double crochets in the top of those, and then into the chain space here. So just do 4 slip stitches, and that is always how you start a new row. That's 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you're into this chain 2 space here. So into that space, you're going to chain 3, and then 2 double crochets into that same space. So that chain 3 is actually, it counts as a double crochet. And that's always the rule. So then you chain 2, and you do 3 double crochets into the same space. And then you chain 2 again, and then 3 more double crochets. Okay, and this is what your project will look like. You'll have 3 bunches here, so, and then 2 below that. So we're going to do row 3. So it's always going to start the same way, so just do 4 slip stitches across until you get into that chain space, which gives you your 4th one, and then chain 3 and 2 more double crochets, then chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into that chain space, and then hop over to the next chain space and you do the same thing. So you do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So that will give you, if you're looking at the bunches, the groups of 3, you'll have 4 of them. Okay, so we are already on to row 4. So turn your work, and then 4 slip stitches. So just inch your way across until you get to that chain space, and you do your 4th one in there. Then chain 3, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. Okay, and then we are going to go into this middle gap here, this middle space, and you're going to do 1 double crochet into that space. And then you hop over to the 2 double crochets there, and, or sorry, the chain 2, and you do 3 double crochet, chain 2, and then another 3 double crochets into that chain space. So your work will look like that, and you'll have the double crochet in the middle. Row 5, turn your work, and again you're just inching across with your 4 slip stitches, and then chain 3, 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more into that same chain 2 space. And so this is always how you're working the beginning and end, and that creates the border. See the border here that you follow, so it gives it kind of a clean line. Okay, so into this double crochet, we're going to skip over all of this work here, and into the double crochet that we did down here, we are going to do a double crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet into the top of that. So you've created a V stitch, just like that. And then jump over to the chain 2 space and do your shell. So that's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Okay, now for row 6, we're going to turn our work and then do our slip stitches. That's 4 of them in a row. Then chain 3 and some fluff there. 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 more, or sorry, 3 more. That creates your shell. Okay, now we're going to chain 1, and then into this V we're going to put 9 double crochets. Okay, and once you've done that, you're going to chain 1 and then jump over to the chain 2 space here and do your shell. So that is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Okay, so for row 7, we're going to turn our work and slip stitch 4 times and do our shell. Okay, then chain 1, and then you're going to do a double crochet into the top of the first double crochet from below, and then chain 1 and into the next one a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet. So you're going to do that all the way across the 9 stitches. So you'll have 9 double crochets again with a chain space in between. Okay, my battery was just about to die, but we're all good. Okay, so we have 9 double crochets with 1 chain space in between. So we're going to chain 1 and then jump over and do our shell to finish off row 7. Okay, for row 8, turn our work and do as we have been doing. So you do the 4 slip stitches across and then a shell into the chain space. Okay, so now we are going to chain 2 and then skip all of this, skip the 3 double crochets in the chain space, and in between the first and second double crochets where there's a chain space, you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. So this will give you 6 loops on your hook plus this one that you started with, so that's 7 in total. So what you're going to do is yarn over and pull through all 6, and then yarn over and pull through that last one just to seal it off, and then chain 1 and then jump over to the next space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 6 of those, yarn over and pull through the last 2, and then chain 1 and then do that again. So keep working away until you have 8 of these puff stitches with a chain space in between, and then just leaving you on a cliffhanger there while I get these 8 puff stitches done. So you're just going to, when you've got your 8 puff stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then you just mimic what you did on the right side. So you do a chain 2 and then jump over to your shell to do your shell in the last chain 2 space. And that is row number 8 done. So for row 9, we turn our work and do the same as we have been. So you just slip stitch 4 times, and then do your shell. So that's chain 3, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, if it will cooperate. Okay, and then you chain 2, and then into these spaces, so in between the first puff and the second puff, you're going to do a new puff. So you yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 6 of those, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2, then chain 1 and then repeat. So you are slowly decreasing your puff stitches, which will give you this grape design here. So I'm going to leave you to continue that pattern until you have 2 left, at the top, which will be row 14. So from row 9 to row 14, it's the same, but you're just decreasing by 1 each row. So I'll just show you what I mean here before I send you off on your way, but I trust you. I trust you to do well. So here we have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what we do is chain 2, and then you leap over to your shell here, and you finish off with the shell. Okay, so for rows 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you just continue that way, and same as you've been doing. So just inch across with your slip stitches. That looks a little weird. So just inch across. With 4 slip stitches, and then your chain 3, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into that chain space, and then you're going to chain 2 and then leap all the way over to in between the first and second puff stitches from the row below, and you're going to create your new puff stitch. So that's yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through those and leave 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through, then do a chain and then repeat. So just continue, and then I will meet you when you have 2 left, two grape puffs in the middle. Okay. Okay, this is what your project should look like, or something like this. And now we are, well, this is row 14 that I thought that I would meet you on. So just start and do the same thing that you've been doing. So you slip stitch and then chain 3, you do your shell in the first chain 2 space. And then you're going to chain 2, jump across, so you will do a puff stitch in between the first 2, and then another puff stitch, so that will leave us with 2 puff stitches, unless you've already made it to row 15, which is totally fine. You're just ahead. You're just a pro. So you do the chain 2 and then jump over and do your shell just to finish off that row 14. So for row 15, we are doing the same thing again. You're you're just turning your work, crawling along by doing a slip stitch 4 times, and then your shell. And then you are doing a chain 2, jumping over and doing your final puff stitch. Yay. Can you see that? It's kind of just kind of ramming it into your digital faces there. So you chain 2 and then jump over and do your shell in the chain 2 space. And then we are on to row 16. So turn your work just like that, and you can see the lovely grapes that you've made. And into this second last row, row 16, you do the same thing. So you slip stitch 4 times, 2, 3, 4, chain 3, and then 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, and then you skip over all of this stuff in the middle and jump over to the next chain 2 space in the shell, and you do another shell, and that helps close it off. Just like that. And then for row 17, we turn our work. And do the same slip stitches. So that's 4, 2, 3. And then chain 3. Now do 2 double crochets. And then you're going to jump over to the next chain 2 space and do 3 double crochets. And that closes it up a little bit. So now you'll, as you can see here at the top, you're back to this area at the bottom where you had 2 little clusters of 3. So if you wanted, you just turn your work and start building again. So you create 3 and then 4 and then, so basically jump back to row number 2 and then just follow it again, and you'll get, like, you know, these little lovely motifs connected. But if you want to finish this off, we will do 1 more row here. So this is row 18. So you turn your work and slip stitch times. So you do it across the 3 double crochets, and then into the center you do a slip stitch, and then you chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're doing a picot here. So what you do is you stick your hook into the base of that chain 4 and pull up a loop and pull that through just like that, and that creates a little picot. And then you are going to do 3 slip stitches across on the left side, and that is the end. So you get a little point at the top, so you can cut your end here and pull your yarn through, just like this, just to finish it off, and then you just weave the end in. So just weave it in so that nobody can see that tail, and you cut that, and you don't cut your project like I probably just did. And that is the motif. Now what you can do too is block it so that you really get definition, and it will look really, really pretty. Yeah, so that's basically it. That is the grape motif. So you can see these little grapes design there. So I hope you found this a little bit useful or helpful or fun. Yeah, you can create different things. You can add, like I said, a little tail here and make this bookmark. So have fun with these, and enjoy, and happy crocheting. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.